"25 years ago, we lost your favourite filmmaker of all time. And when we lost that favourite filmmaker, he had just released today's film, Eyes Wide Shut.
It wasn't fully edited until after he died.
I'm gonna give you a loaded question right off the bat.
Okay.
What is this film about?
Oh, my word. What is Eyes Wide Shut about? To different people, it's about different things. Lots of people can watch it and you all have a different idea. It could be about sex. It could be about marriage. It could be about trust with the person you love or friends. It could be about the secret societies that get into sex orgies and murder, and it's about the elite. It's about the poor. It's about a man that's kind of lost in his own mind, really, about once he gets provoked by his wife. So it's about a man's journey. It could all take place in a split second, or the whole film could be actually what happens. You don't know.
Could be any of those things and like 100 other things.
Yeah.
And this is in a small list of unicorn-like movies where every time I watch it, it's a completely different movie.
Yeah.
It's a completely different experience. I can go from thinking it's a great film to thinking it's a terrible film.
Yeah, for a while it was my favourite Kubrick film.
Yeah,
for its cleverness, it didn't have the camera work of some of his other films. The cerebral nature of it is very Kubrick, and it's a film he wanted to make from the early 60s, I think. He read the book, Dream Story, very much of the time of the late 90s. And Kubrick was very, very interested in esoteric themes and subtle conditioning and things like that. And once you watch the film about 3 times, I'd say the third or fourth, you start to see it. You start to see the layers of it, and it's an amazing film.
You can sort of see the movie in there, like people trying to kill him, etc.
Yeah.
Is he in danger? Is he not in danger? I don't know.
It's all of his own making.
Yeah.
From one conversation with his very highly sexed and stoned wife.
Yeah.
But you kind of get the idea that's just a moment for her. That's not who she normally is. There are so many theories out there as well. I mean, getting ready to do this, I've kind of watched a few explanation videos on YouTube. And yeah, a lot of people immediately, the first thing they'll go for is conspiracy theory things.
Yeah.
You know, and they kind of...
Not if you're watching Rob Ager. Shout out to the age, man.
Yeah, the sage ager. So I've watched 3 or 4. A couple of them were by the same person, and it's amazing, especially after the kind of craziness of 2020 and onwards.
Yeah,
that the first thing a particular YouTuber who isn't very well known, and rightfully so because it's not very good, is he immediately starts laying into conspiracy theories, and it's like, oh, that's interesting, a film about a secret society that are into sex rituals and murder, and the first thing he's doing is kind of knocking conspiracy theories as if anyone that took that sort of thing at face value or thought, well, I wonder if people do actually do this.
Yeah, we are coming to this film now in a post-Epstein world.
Yeah. What's interesting, Dave, is I kind of mentioned it earlier, and thank goodness I did, because you didn't have a very good recollection of it. But this, I mentioned this film to you. For all those that don't know, Dave and I played a part in a film being made just over 20 years ago, 21 years ago, if you will. We're on location, and I said to you, have you seen Eyes Wide Shut? Now, in 2003, you had not seen Eyes Wide Shut. And we had a small conversation, and that was the first time I talked to you about Kubrick.
Right. Surely I'd seen Kubrick films, though.
You'd probably seen The Shining or Clockwork Orange. You had not seen Eyes Wide Shut.
It's one of the most manipulative films, and I mean that in a good way. the way it, like, starts booking trends immediately. Like the opening score turns out to be on the stereo in their apartment when they leave. Like, he turns it off. Kubrick plays with you and, like, plays with your expectations.
And again, it's all classical. He doesn't have to pay royalties.
Oh, yeah. Before he made this film, he supposedly watched Basic Instinct and Showgirls for research purposes to see how far you could push the line where nudity is concerned. Basic Instinct is a million miles away from this movie. It's very tame. As far as that thing,
very tame. There's nothing in it.
If you're watching this purely for titillation's sake, I don't think it really works like that.
But there were rumours that there were people leaving the set, leaving the movie, and because it was so raunchy, and it obviously once you've seen it, you scratch your head and you go, "Well,
yeah."
What
it's
was,
not.
What
it
was
doesn't.
that about?
It doesn't live up to the erotic thriller tag.
Yeah, but I mean, the sexual side isn't really a part of it.
No,
at all. It's.
I think it was there for promotion purposes.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is kind of hinted at, but it's not about the sex. I mean, they use Nicole Kidman at the beginning, to kind of pull you in and realise what she is and how attractive she is.
Yeah, this is it.
And Tom Cruise as well. Obviously, using Tom Cruise as who at the time he was less. I think it was very much less known how mentally ill he was. Obviously, he broke out with Top Gun and that, but he was a superstar.
Yeah.
So to actually ask him and Nicole to do it, I mean, originally the idea was Woody Allen and Mia Farrow. That would have been 60s, 70s.
All right, okay.
And then after that, but get this, while he was doing The Shining, he saw Steve Martin. And he wanted Steve Martin in the lead role when there was a little bit more comedy in it. Like, obviously, the way he does Strangelove and things like that.
Right.
There's always a slight comedic feel to his roles, Like in Full Metal Jacket, the main character's got Born to Kill on his helmet.
Yeah.
So there's always like underlying humour. There isn't that much in this film.
But there is, though.
There
is humour.
Are you on about Alan Cumming?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. I don't think that's very funny.
Oh, it's not funny.
No.
It's like it's there in the background, though.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a. I mean, there are some theories that guy was involved in the whole thing. So you don't know. Does that society own that hotel? Because it's those people that we're talking about. Somebody so rich to own a big hotel in the middle of a city.
Are they working on Bill and Alice from the opening? Like Ziegler's party?
Well, I actually saw a thing saying Alice was in on it. She's got the mask next to her.
Yeah. It is Ziegler's party, and he is in it pretty thick. A case could be made that everyone there is working on them to get them into the cult. Even down to Nick Nightingale, because let's face it, the coincidence of him being there, I think he's there to seal the deal, to reel him in. I think that's what he's there for. Everything he says, including that scene in the club in the city where he's just finished playing, where he gives him the password. I mean, what if you
Fidelio?
If you're that dead set on Bill not going there because you know what the crack is, why would you tell him the password? You just wouldn't do it.
But reel him in for what reason? To get him in the group, or to warn him away from the group?
To get him in the group.
Does he think Bill would join the group?
I think so.
Because that's how utterly wrong. Because once Bill gets there, he doesn't engage in sex with anyone. You've got to take it at face value. He walks in, looks at all the debauchery, and realises
it's very tame debauchery.
Yeah. No, he doesn't partake in any of it, and you kind of get the impression he immediately thinks, "This is not my world."
Yeah.
Now, Nick Nightingale would know that. His wife would know that.
Maybe, but he hasn't seen him for 10 years.
Yeah, but you know if someone's slightly depraved or if they're not. And he would know that he's not. He's outside of this world, and he always is. So why these people are kind of trying to drag him in, that's the very strange part of it. From the beginning, when he goes up and saves that girl from the overdose, She goes to those parties. Ziegler goes to the parties. Why do the guy who's dancing with his wife with Alice while he's up there doing it goes to the parties? So why would they think that Bill would be a perfect person? It makes no sense. But this is exactly what we were saying about right at the beginning about you can watch this and not have a clue what you've just watched. Not have a clue, and then watch it again and go, oh, well, it's about that.
There's no way to know if any of these readings are accurate.
Oh, yeah, but that's the point of it. None of them are, and they're all absolutely correct at the same time. Something that I kind of saw, and I thought that's really fucking clever, is all of Tom Cruise's scenes when he's walking around New York were filmed on a green screen. Kubrick, very, very, very good filmmaker in the sense of what he gets on a screen. Think of the focus and lens, genius. He decided to use green screen, kind of puts Tom Cruise in a dream world.
Yeah. And because it's essentially a backlot as well, you can have those awesome scenes where he's being followed and there's literally no one else around. There's no cars, there's no people.
It's the actual practical effects of 1999 being used in a way that isn't just, well, I'll tell you what, make him fly or do this. It's like, no, make it look like he's not part of the world that he's walking through. And that's a genius move, especially at the time in filmmaking. This is just after Jurassic Park and all that CGI. You know, that was when really CGI was born, wasn't it? That we all the green screen rather than the blue screen and the Lucas special effects. This went into something else, and it was using that as a practical effect for just a tone in your film, not the actual.
Yeah.
That's Kubrick again. He's absolute genius. He's using the technology around him to make something that's just, it's seemingly, most people would not notice. You would not realise that Tom Cruise isn't there. You'd think he's walking around New York.
Do you think he wrote the gay bashing scene in after Tom Cruise was cast? Do you think Kubrick is thinking about the rumours about Tom Cruise? You don't?
No. Kubrick would make a barb against one of the actors that he's making demands of. No.
I wonder how many times they shot that scene. But one of the few retook scenes, I'd imagine.
Yeah, well, I'll imagine Kubrick would have, he had an idea for it. I mean, it was enough to drive Harvey Keitel away.
Oh, yeah, because he got fed up of opening the door 50 times.
Well, yeah, but we've discussed this before, Dave. It's if he knows what he wants and he wants a certain something, but I mean that's what that's what Kubrick did, and if obviously Harvey Keitel he's bad. He's one of those actors that you just in the pantheon.
But it's interesting that Keitel was replaced with a director, Sidney Pollack, who apparently, despite being contemporaries with Kubrick, absolutely idolised him.
Yeah, and he's also a director who knows he's working with the best in the world.
And he's made some quality movies, Sidney Pollack.
How many takes would you do for Stanley Kubrick?
I'll definitely go 150.
You're fucking damn right. You're damn right, because you go, I've made a film with Stanley Kubrick. Look at that. Yeah. And people will go, what an amazing performance in Stanley Kubrick's film. Yeah. Yeah, it was, because he knew what he's doing. Is
it true that the big scene between Bill and Ziegler in his, his pool room, that took 3 weeks to film, and it was just a conversation?
Maybe.
Because this is in the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest continuous film shoot, isn't it? Still.
And he actually asked Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman to move to London as well.
And to not do anything else in the time they had.
Does that not tell you how many takes you're going to be doing?
Yeah.
When Kubrick says, you've got the part, you better move to another country so we can film it then. Yeah.
Do you think they split up without making this film?
Do I think they split up?
Because of it?
Partly. I would say it played a big part in it, yeah. Because it's a film about couples looking at themselves. So I think it played a part. It wasn't the catalyst for them splitting up. It wasn't a reason for them splitting up. But I think it
helped.
It absolutely magnified every issue that they may have had, because we don't know. I think he absolutely, probably her more than him, seeing as he's absolutely fucking mental. I do love when he's confronted in front of the society and he's brought there and he's kind of looking around and you can feel the gravity.
Yeah.
That's great acting. It's after it as well. Did you know great acting in the whole film?
The voice of the woman who saves him is Kate Blanchett.
Really? The one up on the balcony?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because they didn't like the voice for the actual actress they had, so they got Kate Blanchett to dub it. But yeah.
Well, yeah, the red cloak is Liam Vitelli, isn't it? Who was Kubrick's right hand, and he was also obviously in Barry Lyndon as Lord Bullingdon.
Do you think this is the greatest final film by a director in history? This is the Tarantino theory where eventually they just can't hack it anymore. So do you think this is the greatest final film by a master?
Look how many Hitchcock made.
Many. And
then look how many Kubrick made.
Yeah.
There's no comparison. Is it worthy of Kubrick? Yes. Absolutely, yeah. And it... For what it opens up and what it says to people, it's an amazing film for him to finish on, because he'd already hinted at things in Strange Love and here and there over his career. This was a pointed attack at a certain strata of society that kind of feeds off the main populace, and it's absolutely true, especially when you look at Epstein and what he got away with and who he's friends with, and you can bet those fuckers have been wearing deer masks, for decades, and while they've been doing things. Yeah. So it's his way of saying this happens, but if a normal person somehow, doesn't matter how, finds his way into that life, into that world, all you will do is look around in fucking wonder, and they will want to kill you. Whether Kubrick knew this was his last film, which I suspect he did. When was Kubrick's last film before that?
Was it Full Metal Jacket?
Full Metal Jacket.
So
that's was that 86?
So
that's
87.
87. So that's 12 years before. So no, he kind of had an idea. He didn't want to be making films at that art. He knew he wouldn't be able to give it that intensity that he gave. And I think even in this film, you can feel that some of the, the foot had been slightly taken off the gas. He died the day after showing his first edit of it.
Yeah.
And then I think it was further edited after. So no, when you look at Kubrick and you realise it was his time, it wasn't a great shot.
He'd overworked himself.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but that's how he made amazing films.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. Yeah, I don't think there's any there's a big conspiracy about Kubrick in that regard now. But I think he was really looking at the state of the world in the late 90s. He knew about secret societies, especially British secret societies, as he knew about American, but especially British. And it was his way of kind of getting it in a mainstream film. And it was serendipitous, really, that he died and it's his last film. So a lot of people will put eyes on it. But I think in the past, since we had that conversation in 2003, think of how the world's changed since then, and about how I used to talk about things that people would say, that they would say things were crazy. It's out now.
Flabbergasting to this day. We're scratching the surface about a film that no one understands, really. You can follow the plot in quotation marks, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's not really what it's about.
No.
And I have no fucking clue what it's about.
That's precise. Then what I'd recommend is you watch it again.
Yeah.
And then watch it again. Because it's the couple of watches where you go, oh, hold on, I didn't actually spot that, or I didn't kind of get how smooth that was there. Or
Yeah.
There's so many implied things that you've got to rewatch to kind of appreciate what he was doing.
So, is this your favourite Kubrick now? Are we going now? Is this the number one? Is this the daddy?
Oh, man. Oh, see, I absolutely love it. It's in my some days it is, some days it isn't. That's why Kubrick is my number one, because there's so much you get from each film after each watching. They're beautiful films, but he was really interested in the stories in life and what life was about, morality, and this film's just full of it.
Want to join another kind of cult? Just like and subscribe.